Hi, this is Polly with Get Busy Thriving, and in this video I want to share with you something I learned from a gentleman named T. Harv Eker, who I have a lot of respect for, and it's the phrase, "My word is law in the universe." When I first heard that, I was like, my word is law in the universe, what does that mean exactly? And over the past 10 years, I've been able to not only embrace that, but embody it and apply it to my life in so many ways, and I just wanted to share with you, I've got about 5 things that behind that phrase, what it can give you, what it gives you access to, and how to embody it, if you will. So again, it's my word is law in the universe. There's a lot of information, a lot I could teach you about the power of your word, but just know that the words that come out of your mouth, not only is your subconscious mind hearing them and acting upon them, and the universe is created around them, but our life is created through words. So when I started living like that, my word was law in the universe. So what I first started noticing is, if you're a student of law of attraction is built upon that which you vibrate and you emanate, you attract, right? So when I would speak what I wanted, I was speaking into being the things that I wanted to attract and manifest in my life. So my word is law in the universe. It's like I say it and it becomes so. And how that looks like, some of it is who I step into the world as, so I become what I say that I am, but also my world becomes what I say that it is. If I say, it's a great day, it's going to be a great day, or, I have so much abundance in my life, or there's so much beauty all around, or so much to appreciate, like I get more and more of that. So law of attraction is at work when my word is law in the universe. The second one, and this was really key for me, is the integrity piece. So having had an eating disorder for 20 years, I'd say after 20 years, I was resigned that I would never do this. Like I would never get over it. I was just like, that's just how it's going to be. It just had been like that for so long. It was like, how could I ever, break this pattern? How could I correct this? Whatever you want to call it. And I stopped believing my own word because I went against what I said all the time. Like hundreds of times I would say, that was the last time, like have all this energy in the next morning and then just fall right back into my old patterns. And so when I started living that my word is law in the universe, it was like, no, it's my integrity, it's who I am. And so when I am my word, I keep my word to myself, which is the most important thing. So I think integrity with yourself, the next thing is it creates self-esteem and self-worth and self-value, self-confidence. I began to believe in myself again. I began to not only begin to see where around overeating food and keeping my word with not doing that, it's like it started to spill over into other areas of my life. I started to have more confidence in myself, more confidence in my own words, because I was living as, like full integrity. And I do a lot of coaching, and I see, and I've been telling clients lately that, you're this champion out in the world, you're this rock star, I've got a lot of clients that have just super high powered positions, or they're superstars in their own right, or just like they're doing great things in the world, great moms, great presenters, great coaches, whatever they are. And they're that like 80-90% of the time. And then they go home, or they're by themselves, and like they take off their champion hat, they take off the superstar hat, or they just treat themselves differently. And what I got for myself was, when my word is law, it's not only my word, you can take it and like for other people, but it's my word to myself was important. And so I started to strengthen and re-empower myself because I began to believe in what I said. And so it was small things. I do some coaching with clients, and I say, because you've sort of cheated on yourself, or you've lied to yourself for so long in this area, you don't take yourself for your word. So start creating little opportunities to have integrity with yourself, to do something, and it doesn't have to be your addiction related or what have you. It can be anything in your life, like getting up a little bit earlier, going to bed when you said you're going to go to bed, not keeping your word with agreements in terms of appointments that you make, or promises to people in delivering them something. You're completing a project, do it on time, that sort of thing. And those little wins with yourself begin to build that inner well, that inner self-esteem, like how you see yourself. Your empowerment grows tremendously when you begin to take yourself as your word. And what's beautiful is, over time, as you begin to trust yourself, you have, more and more confidence. You're like, wow, like for a couple weeks, you're like, yeah, I'm doing what I said I'm going to do. And then it gives you that new faith into the future. Like, if I say something, it's going to happen. Like, if I say I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it, right? And it can show up in a lot of different areas. For me, one of the things that it shows up with now, because I've had my eating disorder behind me for nearly 15 years, is it shows up in my races and my commitments to people and my relationships. So if I say, yeah, I'll be there, or you can count on me, or if I sign up for a race and I'm like, okay, this is a big deal, I do the work, I put in the work, I put in the commitment. So, and it's my word to who that person is, or to myself. If it's a race, like, okay, I want to do great in that race, then I take myself for my word, and I begin to work towards it. It's like that level of commitment. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And so I have new faith in myself. If I say something, like something's going to happen, like I'm going to create this, or I'm going to build that, or what have you, I have new faith. Like, my faith is out in front of me now because I've got so much experience, so many years of living like this. I know when I say it, it's going to happen in the world, and I'm going to create it as well. And the last one is I'm able to choose what I want to and commit. So, a lot of times people, so in addiction recovery, the first step is, self-awareness, and then mindfulness, but then it's deciding. So you decide, you commit, and then you resolve that it's done. Like, whatever it takes, and it can take weeks, months, days, what have you. Bumpy, fast, it can happen in a lot of different ways it can look. But when you commit to it, you decide, you commit, and you resolve. It's like, that's my word. And that's what happened for me when I, in 2005, said, I am no longer bulimic. I am eating disorder free. I am bulimia free, right? I'm a non-bulimic, were things that I said to myself. And I lived into them. And now today, I commit to things, and it's like, it's done. And so living as your word is law in the universe can create so much power, so much certainty and clarity, and that level of commitment. So I just invite you to try it on. How can you start walking around in the world? Maybe you just write it a few times. Maybe you journal it. Maybe you remember it, or look at it in the morning, do a post-it and say, my word is law in the universe. And how would a person whose word, their integrity, their like who they show up as, their level of commitment to themselves and to other people is like, it's done. Like, my word is law in the universe. How would that person show up? How would that person do the things that right now maybe you're not keeping your word to yourself? You're like, if you were like me, it was I'd have a binge at night, and then I'd resolve to, tomorrow's a new day, I'll change this, and what have you, and then fall into some old patterns, and then back into, binging again, binging and purging. So how can you take on looking for little wins, little ways that you can reinforce for yourself, and start speaking what you want into being and seeing it becoming, so that in essence, your word is law in the universe, because it is. It took a little while for me to get that, but your story and what you have to say is what is becoming, because you're hearing it, you're believing it. And if you can begin to live your life from a foundation of, I do what I say I'm going to do because my word is law in the universe, maybe you have some language cleanup. Maybe you don't commit to things, you don't over commit to things, and it might take a little while for you to kind of step back and be more self-aware when you do say things to people, that you can follow through on them. You might have to do some moving things around, and maybe you don't commit to some things for a while. But when you are able to create those commitments and live into them, that inner empowerment will grow and grow and grow, and it will start to ripple out into other areas where your self-confidence will be unstoppable, because you're like, no, I said I was going to do it, and it's done. It's happening. It's already done, and I'm just living into it. So that's what I want to share with you today. So remember, your word is law in the universe, whether you believe that or not, and start living into it. Start the practice of it. Start noticing where you can keep your word to yourself more. Just make small little commitments and begin to keep them. I hope this was helpful for you. Like this and share if you agree.